I've been following your journey just for years now, so it's great to actually get to talk to you about it. But yeah, I know you've obviously been very candid about your transformation. It's almost been like 20 years now, but
Yeah,
why do you think this aspect, the excess skin aspect of it all, is something people don't talk about as much when it does come to weight loss, when it does come to these transformations?
it's it's mind-boggling, honestly, Brian, because I, you know, I was put I was put on my first diet at 5. Um, and I guess at that point I didn't totally know what was happening. So when it came time for me to go like, okay, I'm an adult now. What do I want out of my body and my life and what do I need to do to get there? I read a lot of diet books.
Yeah.
And in not one was loose skin ever mentioned. Not one of them talked about it. None of the nutritionists I saw, none of the doctors I saw, none of the dietitians I met with. It was never mentioned. And so I guess the first time I really started thinking about it was, gosh, probably 2005. I'd lost over 200 pounds. I
Hmm.
was active. I was a part owner of an MMA gym. And I just kept thought, I have a lot more weight to lose. Like, this is all, I wasn't thinking about loose skin in terms of anything else other than just like, well, this is still fat I have to lose. Um, and by the time I started to address it with like, okay, what do I do about this? Because I've lost so much fat, and when I look in the mirror, I actually think I look worse
Mm,
because at least the skin looked natural when it was inflated with fat, but now
yeah.
that it's like deflated, it almost looks. It looked. I perceived it as worse. Um, and then you go down like a weird rabbit hole of all the hope,
Treatments and
yeah, yeah, all the snake oil that's out there, lotions, potions, red lights, mineral wraps, types of dieting. Well, if you just intermittent fast, if you had just done it slower, there's all this stuff. And at that point, it had been years of dieting. None of this happened.
yeah.
Like there was no, I didn't start dieting and wind up with a bunch of loose skin 6 months later. That
Right.
that wasn't what happened. Um, and so why do people not talk about it? I think it's a number of factors. I think that the statistics on successful and maintained weight loss are so dismal
Yeah.
that I think there's probably partially the idea that you don't want to tell anyone, like, the body of your dreams really isn't available to you.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's not fair because if you do all this hard work and you have an expectation and that expectation never comes, that's far more disappointing than making the decision to do all this work and understand you know, what you'll probably be left with. And the flip side is, there was once like a tabloidy article on me. This was in probably 2011. I
Okay.
was I was riding. I was doing a ton of cardio, and so you put on the spandex outfit to do a bike ride,
Yep.
and it's very revealing. Um, and there were pictures that like a paparazzi got of me of
Mm.
the loose skin around my knees, and the headline was like the downside to weight loss.
Ugh.
It felt awful.
Yeah.
It was depressing to see a picture of it that I knew everybody else was going to see. I mean, there was like a picture of me in my spandex, more than 200. I was about 300 pounds down at that point. And then
Yeah.
there was like one of those zoomed in images of
Of
around my knee
course.
with loose skin.
Yeah.
And it made me feel awful. It made me feel like not going out in public dressed like that. And
Mm.
I loved cycling at the time. But at the same time, like they weren't lying. It's true. And I think that should be talked about. I think it
Yeah.
it should be part of the conversation of weight loss. And The other thing is, the first diet I was put on by my mom was based on a book by a gal named Adele Davis. And she wrote I mean, she had some fantastical ideas too, but mostly it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't extreme dieting.
Yeah.
And I think she didn't write about it because when she was writing diet books, the amount of people that were morbidly obese was very small. And so
Mm.
if you're just losing 20 pounds, the amount of loose skin that you're likely to be left with is minimal. It's, I mean,
Yeah.
probably not even noticeable. If you lose 300 pounds, you're going to have a ton of loose skin. And I think
Yeah.
now we arrive in a day where a lot of people have a massive amount of weight to lose. And now with the advent of GLP-1s, where it becomes super possible. Like, I think we're going to
Yeah.
start to see those statistics shift radically.
They already are.
They are, yeah. For the first time in forever, or for 50 years or something, obesity trends are ticking down slightly. This is
Yeah.
great. So we're going to see more loose skin. I think it should be talked about. Um, I think it should be broadcast widely, because it's a tough thing to face. You lose a
Yeah.
couple 100 pounds. It's not easy, even with GLP-1s agonists. I don't think it's going to be easy for people. I think it's still going to require real effort,
Yeah.
and to be left with something where you're like disappointed, that sucks.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's good that you're the one talking about it and not other people doing it for you this time.
Yeah, I really found that that's kind of the key, talking about this stuff openly, being honest about it,
Hmm.
talking about how it's frustrating and how to work through it, and having other people to talk to about it, like-minded people. I think that's been the most helpful thing,
Yeah.
doing this live stream where every Monday I get on, I'm gonna bare my soul. It, in 2011, when that article appeared, I was really hiding. I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to lose
Mm.
weight and pretend I was never fat. I just wanted
Yeah.
to forget that that part of me existed. And the problem with that really was I kept coming back. I kept regaining the weight because I was kind of
Mm.
being dishonest with myself, before presenting a dishonest version of myself. Um, and so I think that being open and talking about it is really key to, like, first of all, like, I find, like, for myself, the most necessary first step in this is self-acceptance, and going like,
Yeah.
this is what I've got. I can improve it, and I want to improve it. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be this like Adonis vision I have in my head. It's never going to be that. So I'm going to accept myself
Yeah.
now and try to improve.
Yeah. And for you, just how long did it take for you to realize that the solution was surgical when it does come to excess sin? Because obviously, like you said, you were trying these other, red
Yeah,
light therapies and remedies and things that just didn't ultimately didn't do anything.
did nothing. It took a while. It took, probably spent a year kind of banging my head against the wall. Um,
Mm.
Still with the hope that I could diet the skin off. Like, that was
Yeah.
kind of lingering in the background. I'll do this mineral wrap, but I probably just need to lose more weight, was really my
Mm.
thinking on it. And then my wife took me to a dermatologist, and she just kind of sat me down and was like, no, dude, skin is an organ. You're not dieting it off. This isn't
Yeah.
going anywhere. You know, um, you can put a cream on it that might, increase the health of the skin, but that's not going to make it go away.
Yeah.
And then, I'm ultimately met with a plastic surgeon who was like, yeah, what we do with skin is we cut it off.
Yeah.
That's how you get rid of it.
And then for you, I know you did it twice, right? 2008, 2012, and the first time was not a great experience for you. I think you said it was awful was the exact quote, but you know, what do you know now that you wish you knew then beforehand, like going into it, both from a physical and mental standpoint, just what it was actually going to be like?
So there are a few factors. First, I hadn't I hadn't gotten comfortable with my weight loss. I was not, it was still a real struggle to maintain my weight. And my weight was fluctuating a lot then.
Yeah.
I would diet and be clinging to the pounds that I'd lost and then ultimately gain a bunch back. And then
Mm.
these kind of extreme swings. So I think that was a bad physical position to go into that surgery. That's number one. And then number two, I really had this idea that surgery was cheating. I never got bariatric surgery because I
Yeah.
thought of it as cheating, which is so stupid. And then when I was presented with, like, well, the only way you get rid of the skin is to cut it off, I still thought, well, this is cheating. Now I'm a cheater. Now I didn't earn the body that I have. I didn't work for it. I don't deserve it. And so I went into that first surgery with so much anxiety. First, because I had gained, like, geez, I think nearly 50 pounds from my initial consultation with the doctor to, and it's not like you go in and you meet with him and then you get the surgery that day.
Right.
There's like, there were months in between. And so I met with him, and then over the subsequent 8 weeks or something, I gained so much weight. And then when I was confronted with, oh, you're going in 10 days to get the surgery, then I went on a like another extreme diet to try to get back down.
Yeah. Crash.
Didn't nearly get there. And so I just went into that first surgery with a lot of anxiety. And I guess I could have gone in with a lot of false confidence too, but I wish I had gotten to a really stable weight, held on to it. I wish I'd been that weight for a year and
Mm.
gone like, okay, I'm not, this is not tenuous. This is not rocky. This is not the worst struggle of all time to maintain this
Yeah.
weight. And then gone and gotten the procedure done with the confidence of, like, now the next step is removing the skin and I'm going to feel good about that. Um,
Yeah.
and so, it was disastrous. And then the recovery, I wasn't prepared for just the sitting still for
Mm.
so long. And so I was
Yeah.
anxious about, like, now I'm gaining weight again because I can't move around, and the anxiety, the only thing that seems to be soothing me is food. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I wasn't prepared physically or emotionally or psychologically. And, you know, I wish I'd done all of that differently.
And obviously you did get to go back, do it again, and you've said your body will never be the way that you want it to look. That's just, I think, how we all something we all need to realize.
Right.
But what have been the major benefits since having this done now twice?
Yeah, like, I can't say I regret doing it
Yeah,
because I had a huge fold flap of skin hanging down where my stomach used to be,
yeah,
and like that was physically cumbersome. Like it got in the way of of the rest of my body. It was
yeah,
not, and so, like, I'm so glad that's not there. My breasts hung. By the way, in every picture that I've ever confidently taken my shirt off, still people say, like, look where his nipples are. Look at all that skin hanging down. And that's after surgery. So, like,
yeah,
you don't even get perfection with surgery, I think. Like, you got to confront that at some point, that, like,
yeah,
your body is still, it is what it is, and, like,
yeah.
even bodybuilders, they're never happy. They're never satisfied. They're
No,
always working for more. I think the people that post pictures online and say, like, I'm the greatest and I look at me and all of this, I think that's, if they do really feel that way, it's fleeting because they got to wake up the next day and keep
yes.
going after something. Um yeah, and so, like, I don't regret doing it at all. It was rough. I wish I'd done it differently, but there's absolutely no regret. I'm so glad that skin is gone.
Mhm.
I get rashes. It was cumbersome exercise was difficult because I had this skin flapping around, got in
Yeah.
the way. Um, there's no part of me that regrets actually doing it. I
No.
do wish I'd done it better, wish I was in a better headspace and
Fair.
physically better, but like
Yeah.
having done it, I'm so glad I did.
And since you have been opening up about it so much, we obviously you had that whole podcast episode a couple weeks ago. Just what has the feedback you've been, what has the feedback been like from others? And is there one that's maybe really stuck with you?
Well, there's still some people that believe uh, it won't be a problem for them or that they can solve it through the type of diet they're doing. And
Mm,
now, like, look, I'm not a guy who says there are any absolutes. I
yeah.
think there can be some people who don't have nearly enough weight to lose to produce cumbersome loose skin. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's not going to be a factor for you. So if somebody writes to me and I just get a reply on social media, I have no idea who that person is, how much weight they're trying to lose. And so, like, it's kind of a vacuum of like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But like, if you've
Yeah.
got 100 pounds or more to lose, you're, I mean, I cannot. And there's these unicorn stories you hear. No, there was a guy that lost X amount through fasting, water fasting, and autophagy, and all these words are thrown around that, and it's like, maybe, but like that guy's a lottery ticket winner. And
Yeah.
are you gonna go like, I'm gonna get rich by winning the lottery is like maybe the worst get rich scheme you could think of.
Yeah.
No, it's probably for the most of the people who are rich, they worked really hard,
Yeah.
or whatever, or were extremely lucky in life already. Are you
Hmm.
extremely lucky in life already genetically, and like you're just gonna be that one unicorn? So I just think that there's still an urge I see from people who want the trick, you know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
the biggest thing in dieting that I want to talk about is like I spent decades looking for the trick, and the trick doesn't exist. Like, the trick is going like, oh, there's no trick. That's the
Yeah.
trick. That's
It's a
kind of the
lifestyle
magic.
change.
Yeah, it's gonna
It's
be
full.
work every day for the rest of your life. That's the trick, is like
Yeah.
coming to grips with that, accepting that. And I think it's kind of the same thing with skin. There's no trick. It's it's gonna be there if you're losing hundreds of pounds. And like accepting that too, I think
Yeah.
is necessary. And then, there's the other troubling thing of like dieting really shouldn't cost anything.
Mm,
It's more of like perspective, it's effort, it's mental calculations, it's your willingness to do something hard for a long time, your willingness to allow it to be slow rather than needing results immediately. Like, I think all that's necessary. With skin, there's a money factor. There's no way to
yeah.
get around it. It's really expensive. And so it's maybe not available to everyone, which is really a tricky thing to talk about.
Yeah.
I had the money to have two of these surgeries by really good people. Sorry for swearing. I fucked one of them up on my own. The second
Yeah.
one, I was in a better place. I did it all right. I allowed myself to recover. And those results were actually much better than the first time I did it, even though I did it in different places. Um,
Hmm.
and so, I don't know how to navigate that conversation as well. That's a trickier thing for me to talk
Yeah.
about because it
But at
is
least you're
really,
open about it so people know what to expect.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I want to be very honest. Like, anyone, if you got a smartphone, you can crunch numbers, you can pull
Yeah.
up the data on calories, you can figure out how much you're burning every day. Like, this should be free to everyone to figure out some system to lose weight in a way that's sustainable, that's the assistance with long lasting lifestyle change. It's all around us and it should be available for free. You can get
Yeah.
any kind of workout on YouTube with all, all of learning how to do it right, learning the rep ranges, learning how to do cardio in zone 2. You don't have to kill yourself in zone 4. All of that's available for free. Having skin cut off is not. And so
Yeah.
it's a trickier conversation, certainly.
Yeah. And last question I have for you is just I saw your recent, episode with Kevin Smith too. Both of you kind of both remarking at the beginning how unrecognizable you'd look to your former selves. Just do you guys find when you're at conventions or meeting up with former colleagues that they even take like a moment to do a double take now?
I've had conversations, man. You know, I ran into strangely. I was at the World Cup yesterday, the final, and
Oh wow.
I ran into Matt Damon, and I just wanted to say to him, like, "My God, dude, you look incredible," because he looks incredible.
Yeah,
He looks better than he looked in Good Will Hunting.
right. He's
I mean,
ripped in the Odyssey.
he is ripped. And by the way, they must have shot the Odyssey a year ago or 2 years,
Right?
however long ago that they shot that movie. And he looked great yesterday. Like he might have looked better yesterday than he did in the, like he just keeps going. And I was so blown away. And he looked at me and he was like, I know who you are. And you look incredible. And we had this really cool, like, no, you look incredible, So that
That's
was really
nice.
fun. That made me feel good. And yeah, it still surprises me and makes me feel good when somebody says you look great. But it's one of those tricky things too, because I don't think I look great and I don't take a compliment well, and that's part
Yeah,
of acceptance. And so I've had to work on like just saying thank you and accepting it and going like, yes, I've worked hard.
right.
In my head, I certainly look better than I did, and so I'm going to own that. And
Take
so
the compliment.
take the compliment. Yes, it's difficult, but it's a kind of part of the process of self acceptance, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time today. Like I said, I've been following your journey for a bit, so to be able to talk to you about it is fantastic. And just yeah, thank you for being so open about everything and loving the all the interviews you've been doing. So
Absolutely, Brian. My pleasure. Thank you.